Welcome all. Today we are going to present another lecture on sound and interview technique. Sound is more important than video in video journalism. There's one point is very important to remember every time. If you ask yourself that why it's too important, because if you miss some video, you can use alternative images like photographs, animation and archival footage. But if you miss any sound, it means interview or sentence or any type of real sound, you can take this sound again, but you can't use it as what you took in the previous session. In this session, you will get some information about the audio quality and audio format. Audio is more important than video. That statement is very important to remember, to understand and to application. Why it is very important? Because if you get some audio with noise, you can't separate these things from your audio. So how could you manage this noise and get a nice audio during your shooting? That is the main topic I'm going to discuss. And before going for taking any sound, I like to introduce some point which is related with the audio system. The audio file format, there's lots of audio file format, but in the present time we are used to these main two format is the MP3 and WAV format. MP3 is the compressed format and WAV is uncompressed format. And obviously you think that what is the compression and compressed format? It's because you are a photographer or know about the photography, so I just compare with this JPG format, which is compressed format. So MP3 as JPG format. You can extend your compression higher or lower also. And most of the DSLR camera and mobile camera have only one option, is called MP3 format. But if you use video camera, professional video camera, you have different type of option. You can choose WAV format, MP3 format and some other format also. So let's move to the next point, that the bit rate compression audio. If you choose the MP3 format, there is a different type of bit rate. Which format is good for you? That is for the FM quality is 96 bit per second and 100 to 160 bit per second is the standard bitrate quality, and more than that is the encoding quality MP3 will give you. But important information is it will give you bigger audio file, so you need a bigger space. Uncompressed audio, the WAV format. If you use the professional sound recorder or professional video camera, you will get this format. And in this format, the standard hertz rate also is you can choose. And some audio record can sample size 48,000 kilohertz or more than that. But initial stage is 48 is okay, and some audio format you can go 44,000 kilohertz per second. It is a frequency level for the uncompressed audio. If you choose MP3, you don't have this option. And right now you have one question that which audio format is good for my video or shooting? Yes, obviously WAV format is the uncompressed and 48,000 kilohertz. And for shooting, editing and exporting your video. But if you don't have this option, go for the MP3, but use at least 128 bit per second, not less than that, because it will give you a different type of challenge during the editing. So choose this one. If you are using the DSLR camera or mobile camera, you will get this option, that MP3 audio. But again, I said these things, that's the best option is WAV format and uncompressed with 48,000 megahertz. Another point is microphone. Yes, you have a built-in microphone in your camera, mobile phone, DSLR camera and video camera. Built-in microphone is everywhere in the time, but the point is here that if you not go closer to your subject to get your sound, you will get lot of noise. How? Because it is like this angle of view, like a telephoto lens and a wide angle lens. Like this is a one microphone. If I choose shoot it from here to camera, the distance is almost 5 feet. 5 feet. So it can take from this angle to that angle all the noises, all the other sound. If I go closer with this microphone, then I will only get the required sound. So the microphone is very important. Built-in microphone can't go closer because you are behind. You have to maintain the distance for the good quality of video, for the interview or for other purpose. With that video, you need to go closer for your getting your sound. For that purpose, you may choose directional microphone like this, or you can choose these types of tie clip microphone, which is a wire. You can add this part in your camera and put the mic to your sound source. So it will get clear sound during your video. So these three types of microphone we normally use. There's the built-in microphone, shotgun, or the boom stick microphone. You can say it might be omnidirectional or shotgun. Omnidirectional means it will take the wider range of sound, like the wide angle lens, and this tie clip will give you a very nice sound during interview. What would be the golden rule to take a good sound? Get closer to your sound source. You can use tie clip or shotgun or boom stick to get closer to your sound source. And you can go physically. Physically means you can use your camera, go closer to your subject. If you don't have this tie clip or shotgun or other microphone, go closer. Or you use these types of clip microphone or boom stick and record two different sound. Two different sound means without using this additional microphone. Just shoot one interview with your built-in microphone, whatever you have in your camera, and again shoot the same interview or similar interview with using this tie clip microphone or boom stick. You will find the differences. You will find the quality of difference. It will give you a clear sound when you use these types of gadget to take your sound. Like here, I am talking to you, and I am using the same type of wireless clip microphone, which is a bit expensive, but for getting a good sound, it is mandatory. And the next point is clean up your sound. Clean up means it is a noise. try to record away from hard surface. Like if you take a sound from the place where there's a no soft surface, it means all are hard surface, like the steel plate, or you can assume you are taking an interview in your washroom, toilet or washroom. It's a big washroom and it's a very nice place, a big place, and no one is interrupted you. So you are taking an interview over there. But the problem is, because this all are hard surface, because the tiles or wall, so you will get the echo. Better to use the choose the place where you will reduce your echo. And that case, use the curtain or sofa or bed where they have lots of echo reducer elements. Yes, also people will help you to reduce these elements. So sometimes it is very important to choose your location to reduce your echo. And when we decide that I'm going to take an interview of this person, talk with him or her and choose a location where you will get good sound without echo. Again, if you go, if you take an interview in the outside of your building, it means in the street, in the normal place, in the running place, that time you will not face any problem with the echo, but there's another problem you will face is noise, street noise. And obviously how you can manage these things, you are working as a video journalist for your TV channel or for your video production, and you have to shoot on the street. In that case, you can use a different type of practical experience which I had in my shooting period. When I put a person in front of the road, it means he is talking and I am in the place where the car and vehicle is moving. So the microphone is getting sound during this time. But if you put the person in the opposite direction, his body or her body will protect this noise. How? If you put this microphone in front of his neck like this, and if you in front of the road, that microphone will get the vehicle sound and the noise. But if you reverse him, then his body or her body will protect this sound little more. In these types of trick you can use, or choose a very quiet place to complete your interview, take good sound, good interview, and again you can choose the real location, the where you need to fulfill your required video. So I will show you how to you minimize the noise in the street. So if I take in this situation the interview, we will use our clip microphone like this. So in this situation, if I use the clip microphone like this, then the sound will take from the street. In that case, I will remove my position, like if you just go in that point, yeah. So in that case, the microphone will not take the sound from the street too much, and we will get a nice sound during the interview. So I will show you the demonstration to take a interview in this situation and that the previous situation. Then we can understand that how we can minimize the noise in the street interview. So you can use this one and use your clip microphone under your shirt. Yeah, and we can hide it, or in the street we can show it also. It's not a big deal. So when I use my camera, and so in this situation, if we say something about the street situation in Dhaka right now and COVID-19 situation, we will take some general point of view that how we are going to cope up with the next COVID situation, because it's increasing, the pandemic and the virus infected people are increasing day to day. So আচ্ছা, আপনাকে যদি জিজ্ঞেস করি যে এখন তো আরও ভাইরাসের পরিমাণ বেড়ে যাচ্ছে, তাহলে আপনি কি কি নিজের জন্য প্রোটেকশন নিচ্ছেন যে আপনার থেকে কাজ করতেই হবে, তো আপনি যদি শুরু করেন যে আপনার নাম কি এবং আপনি কি করেন এটা দিয়ে। সো আই জাস্ট আস্কড হিম দ্যাট হোয়াট হিজ নেম অ্যান্ড হোয়াট হি ইজ ডুইং ইন দ্য রেগুলার লাইফ। হ্যাঁ,
আমি গাড়ি চালাই, ড্রাইভ করি।
আপনার নাম কি এটা দিয়ে যদি শুরু করেন।
নাম দিয়ে
হ্যাঁ
কি করি?
হ্যাঁ
আমার নাম তারা মিয়া।
হ্যাঁ
আমি গাড়ি ড্রাইভিং করি। হ্যাঁ, প্রতিষ্ঠানের নাম বলবো।
He just explained me what his name. His name is Taramia, and he is a driver. So he have to have come on the street and do his regular job. For that situation, I take this interview in that point. If I take it in that in this way, it is very nice because the background is nice, where the location is very very good. But the point is my sound will not be perfect for that. The microphone will get more noise from the street. In the previous situation, that microphone, yes, it is also getting noise from the street, but the point is his body also protect the noise from the street. So that's the one way you can deal with the real life interview, and you also work in that way, and you will find some very good sound in the street interview. Thank you, Tarawai, for your support. Okay, if you now listen the sound, it's a very quiet place, but it's near the street. You can choose these types of place to take your interview and go to the street, because he is working in the street. So better to choose these types of place for your interview. If not, then always prepare for yourself to take an interview in the street. So another point is very important for the editor and for making a story like this. There's the ambient sound. Just take a 1 minute ambient sound without any disturbance. It means the road sound. Why? Because when we cut your interview, that time you might need this sound, or you can sometime enhance the sound, use the sound that is the road environment is like this, and it is for the viewer it's important that what the real situation is there. So take some ambient sound for 1 minute. Yes, like this available sound, and also take some horn and some other sound, road sound, rickshaw sound, and the people is walking. These types of sound will help you to build your own story in a better way. So sound is very important, because after taking your full interview, you can't edit if there is a two sound inside the interview, like there's a voice from the Taravai and the street noise. You can't reduce it. You can't use any plugins to reduce the background noise. And sometimes we do these things, but it is not good, because with the noise, the voice quality also reduce their quality. It means the crispiness of the voice sound will reduce with this plugin. So better to use a clear sound as much as possible. You will make a good story with this interview. The golden rules to take a good sound: 1, go closer to your sound source. Whether you will go closer with your camera or use clip microphone or use boom stick. Choose your location carefully and wear always headphone. These three things is very important to take a good sound. So for the interview, choose your location carefully, stay away from hard surface, soft surface like a soft work wall, and turn everything off. It's very important thing, like mobile, like air conditioner or fan. For getting a better sound, for the time being, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes during the interview, turn everything off. Computer, radio, air conditioner, fan, close your window and curtain also. Get your microphone closer and refer back to the cleaning up your sound section and prepare your question in advance. Don't interrupt, not interested of the reply. So it's very important when you are taking an interview, you have to have the preparation of the interview. So till now I am giving you the information about to get a good sound during the interview or during the shooting. In this moment now I am going to present that how you will get a good interview. Now you are capable to get a good sound during the interview, a technical part, and the interview technique, which is is very much related with your research and questioning technique. For any video journalist, it is important to get a good interview. For your regular shooting, it requires to find an interviewer or interviewee and who will give you the whole story from their end. Call it self-narrative story. For the self-narrative story, it is important to take a good interview. And when you prepare to take an interview, I will give you some important tips how we will get a good interview. And before taking an interview, you need to have some information about the interviewee and the topic. You need some research about the topic. For example, you can right now is the COVID-19 situation and coronavirus is spreading in the whole over the world and in Bangladesh also. So you are thinking that you will take an interview of one doctor, a young doctor, about the situation, what is going to be during the winter. So go for some research that why winter is an important issue to increase the coronavirus. So take some information from the net and about the doctor. What is his name, how long he is working here, what is the experience during the COVID-19 last 8 months or 10 months, why we choose this doctor. So when you get some information, you can prepare your question for that. And to get a nice interview, go earlier. Like he or she gave you a time 10 o'clock morning for taking the interview. Go 9 o'clock, 1 hour early, or 9:30 at least, to set up your whole settings. Don't think that okay, it is the 10 a.m. Time sharp, I will go there and I will make some adjustment and preparation. I will take the preparation after that. No, the people will not know about the adjustment stuff. The general people never know this technicalities. So they always think that, oh, the interview will start at 10 o'clock. Go early and prepare your equipments and know your equipments if you hire some equipments or new equipments like these types of a microphone or tie clip microphone, so you better to know the result of these types of microphone before you just test it, that's working with your camera or not. Just listening some interview of your assistant and take a dummy interview before the final interview. So it is your preparation to take the interview. And when the doctor in front of your camera, he or she will be confident to say something to you because you looks like a professional video journalist. But if you are shaky with your equipments and everything, that you can't deal with this equipment because it's very new to you, you can't change the technicalities or the use of these things, and you are checking the sound, and you sometimes you say to your interview that, okay, can you say something, I want to check these things, and first time he or she will be fine, but second time, oh, what's going on? And third time, fourth time, they might be very uncomfortable during this situation. Before starting your interview, just chat with them. Why? Because yes, I'm here to talk with you about the COVID-19 or coronavirus and what the situation and what going through the situation. Let's just chatting, normal chatting, that how he is doing these things, or what happened in the morning and this and that, to make him or her comfortable with you when he or she will talk with you. And know what you want to get out of the interview, what your plan, have a narrow focus. If you ask what's going on to the world, it would be very complicated question to them, because they don't know the statistics and other stuff. So if you ask the narrow question like what happening in your hospital, it is increasing the patient, or it is as the 3 months ago situation. So make it narrow down, that you are asking the person, he will give you the information about the hospital or about the area or about the situation, current situation. Before taking the interview, you should inform to your interview that the topic is, what is the topic and what you're going to discuss, but don't share your question. If you share your question, then they might memorizing the answer, which looks in front of the camera is like a artificial artificiality. It means when talked in front of camera with the memorizing word, which is not normal, or is not give you a good story. So discuss with the topic, but don't give the share your question. When you start your taking your interview, just ask to introduce yourself in front of the camera. There is a two reason to do these things. First one, that he will introduce himself like my name is this and I'm working here and this and that. So you will get the all information about him. And again, the one thing, if you broadcast the interview and sometime what happened, say something inner thing, and they might ask why you broadcast this one, and it can claim to you that you don't do these things to me, or it is very dangerous for my profession and this and that. That time you can show to the interview that you introduce yourself in front of the camera. So it means that you give the permission to me to broadcast this interview or information, disseminate the information. So it will save your side. But normally it is very important to introduce in front of the camera first, then you will get the information, the name and designation and other stuff. During the interview, you should control the situation. Sometimes what happen when you ask these types of general question, or the person is very learned, or the expert person, he or she will give you the information which is not needed, which you don't want to know, which is not needed for the story. You want to know the present situation or the inner situation. So control the situation, and if sometimes happen during the interview, just hold it, listen to them, and again ask your question. Okay, what you say is okay, but I want to know this point. Listen carefully, whatever they say, whatever. Don't argue during the interview, because audience like to listen the story from the real person, not from the journalist. So it is mandatory to take a good interview from the real person, or from the who is linked with this story. So what happened during the interview, if you argue or don't listen carefully, you might in a problem when you do the editing, or the editor will do the story edit. So listen carefully and take some notes, because some interviews very long. You can't get the main point, and you have to listen once, twice, thrice, or editor should need to listen this interview more than 2 or 3 times. Take some notes. Make sure to record your question. When you ask a question, sometimes we stop the video and just ask the question and start. Okay, now we can say. That time it is difficult to find the answer and question, because editor need to know now why he is telling these things because of this question. So record your question in camera. Maybe it is not the good quality, because you are using the sound device for the interview. So that time, but make sure that record your question. Most of the cases you will face the challenge that you ask a question and the interview give a very long answer. You can't cut it down. So if you listen carefully, after getting the whole answer, just ask, could you please say this the same thing in a short form, or summarize this issue point? Then you will get the very optimum answer, because in his or her mind, what they say during the whole interview, it is the data, the information is there. So if you ask it again, just give me the whole answer in a short form, because my video will not too long, and the audience will not listening that much information. So give me the same information in a short form. That time they will give you answer again, the same question, in the same question. So you will get a perfect answer with a small, the perfect answer, and it will not too long. And don't be shy to ask again and again. If you didn't get the appropriate answer of the question, ask again, and take time. Maybe you can just off your camera and say, okay, just get relaxed, and I'll ask the same question after 5 minutes or 10 minutes. They will relax. I can give you an example. 2 years ago, I was in some place to make one video documentary. And the interviewee, she was very comfortable when we talked about the situation. But when we set up the whole settings, light, camera, sound, everything, she got scared. and she can't talk in front of the camera. So we were thinking and we are waiting for her interview because it's very important for the story. And what I did, I asked her daughter, come in front and ask to your mother the same question. I will record it. Still, I didn't get the answer because she was shy in front of the lots of people, a camera person. And then what I decide, okay, go to your room, though the place was not appropriate for the story, but because I need this sound and interview, so I put her in the room with only two person, my camera person and I, and her daughter. And that time she feels relaxed, and we say, okay, now you can relax, and you can say what I asked to you. And I got the perfect information about the situation. And she was relaxed and smiling and talked in front of the camera and talked to me, talked to her daughter. So it's easy. So you have to find the way to deal with the regular people who are not familiar in front of the camera. And sometimes you can ask some example, like if it is complicated question like COVID-19 or coronavirus, general people will not understand what is saying the doctor. In that time, you can ask the example. Could you please the example on that what you are saying? The example will give you the clarification. Then you can use the example only rather than the technicalities. And always think about your question. Ask that question that your audience want to know. Not ask that question that journalists want to know or the interview want to say. Ask that question that audience want to know during this video. Avoid close-ending question like yes or no. To the doctor, if you ask the question like, how many patients now in your hospital? He or she will answer these things. Oh, 300. But you can use this 300 word. You need the whole sentence, or you need the whole appropriate with the abbreviation. In fact, the 300 patient out of this 300, male is number is that, female number is that, and they admitted during this time. So ask in that way. The question would be like this, that how many patients do you have in this situation, and how many of the among them the male number and female number, could you give in detail? And that time they will give you the detailed information. So never ask the close-ended question like which answer is yes or no, or this and that, like this. Do not argue. Again, I like to say you, do not argue and do not make assumption. You know, the journalist, most of the cases, they research on the topic, on the content, on the interview. So sometimes we assume that he or she will going to tell this story or tell these things because of the research I did. But don't assume or don't argue. Yes, you have an option during your editing. You can edit this portion. No one will ask you why you edit these things. But during the interview, don't argue or don't assumption anything. And in some cases, if you ask a question to a person about another person, that time it is important to know that about someone else. At the end, ask them for their favorite encode about the person. Like I am asking to the same doctor about a nurse who are working inside the room where the corona patient is there. that how the nurse are dealing with this situation. So in that time, ask some quote that nurse might discuss with the doctor, or in the lunch table or dinner table, or some patient just say something about to her that she was very nice and she did some very nice work. So use these types of quote about this situation, rather than asking the data and what is going on. And have a final question that warm up your interview. What would be this final question? Most of the cases I ask this question. Okay, I have done my interview. Do you want to say to the audience about this issue anything which I didn't ask to you? That time he or she realized, oh yes, I have a nice story in that situation, or in beginning of this time, or during the March or April, this one and that one. So you will find a nice story if you ask this question. Would you like to say something to the audience after my interview, or what I asked to you, what is the story? Just outside of these things, just close these things in that way. You will get a good, find a nice story. Or you can ask in that way, would you like to add something? That time they realize, oh yes, I want to add something. In this hospital there's these types of facilities, or the patient will give these types of feedback, positive or negative. And I will give you some useful question, open-ended question, like what happened during this time? If you ask this question, definitely they will say in answer, in the big answer, it means not yes or no. What do you mean that? If you ask a follow-up question regarding his answer or her answer, why is that? And how would you characterize that? And what was the tuning point? Like these types of question will help you to get the whole story from the interview, because people, your audience, want to listen their voice, not the journalist's voice. So in taking an interview and get a whole story from the interview is very important and very artistic stuff, and you will learn day to day when you do these things. And initially it is not easy to anyone to get a good interview, but if you get this knowledge and expertise, you will get this interview. The one point I should mention, that if the person is a regular person like rickshaw puller or the street person or the beggar, what they are facing during the this time, the lockdown or COVID-19 situation, they are very regular person. They are very shy in front of the camera. So from them to get the answer is very challenging. You have to prepare yourself, break your question in that way that they can answer it in a proper way. So questioning is very important, and make a question is very important to get a good story. But for the professionals who are literate person like doctor or expert, they are very much familiar with the camera and giving the interviews on information. In the hospital, if you ask any question to any nurse or service staff, because they also involved in this situation, they are very shy in front of the camera. But it's very important to get the information from them, what they are facing during this time. So that's all for the interview. To get a good interview, you have to prepare yourself and make them easy in front of the camera, which is not easy. And for you who are working as a video journalist, do interview, give interview to others. Then you can find the challenges. Oh, Saying is very easy, but giving the interview is very difficult. That time you will realize that it's not easy to say something in front of the camera. After finish the interview, take at least 1 minute ambient sound of the situation, in the same room or same place. Like you are taking interview in the doctor in their chamber. After completing the whole interview, take 1 minute sound with the silent mode. It will give you a very nice editing, like when someone talked in front of the camera, they might use oh, yes, no, like these types of word. In that situation, you have to cut it from the interview. So when you cut down from one word to another one, in between there is a type of word. So that place you have to fill up with some sound, because you know the world is not empty sound. So which type of sound you use during the editing? This 1 minute ambient sound will help you to put this, fill up this gap. That's why it's very important. Take a 1 minute ambient sound after the interview in the same location. Always look for ambient sound to help build the story you are telling. Like we are going to tell the story on the COVID-19 patient or the doctor activities or the hospital activities. There's a nice sound like trolleys moving, there's some other noise, the door is closing and the fan sound or the AC sound or some equipments they are using for the treatment, that sound. So take that sound individually. During the editing, it will help you to make a good story with the sound, because audio-visual story, you are not using only visuals. Audio is very important. During our shooting, video shooting, you might get sound, but you will get sound with the noise, with the other conversation. Like you are showing a machine, it's called, what you can say, what the name of the machine? Life supporting machine. There's a noise over there. But during the shooting might be someone is talking in front of the camera or discussing something. You just take a wide, medium, close of the situation. And after that, if you ask to everyone, please keep quiet, I will take some sound of this machine or this situation or this environment. During the editing, the editor will reduce the regular sound and use this type of special ambient sound, and the audience will get the feeling with the sound and the visuals. So it's called audio-visual story. So interview is very important, and as well as the ambient sound. And sometimes it helps you to build your library, sound library. Whatever you go for shooting, take some nice sound, like bird is chewing the sound and the road sound and other sound. The library will help you to build your story if it is not possible to take a sound during the shooting. And there are also many online sound sources if you need to find or forget to record a sound. It's most of the cases you will find a free sound, and some cases you will have to pay for that sound. But sound is very important to build your story, and the ambient sound especially.